This is going to be the biggest summer ever in the history of Newcastle United. Last season, we have won silverware for the first time domestically in 70 years. We are also back into the Champions League. We're going to Singapore, South Korea, and Scotland this summer. So, in order for us to be able to attract to a large audience out in those areas, we're going to need to buy some players. And Newcastle now, thank the Lord, finally will buy some players. FFP, PSR's cleared up. Newcastle, according to some media, could have as much as over £200 million to spend. I personally don't think we'll spend that much, but I think we will spend a good amount. And this is where it is. If you guys enjoy the content, make sure you get down there, hit that subscribe button. We will cover every game. We're going to cover every piece of transfer news, and we're going to cover everything regarding Newcastle United. And this video is 10 players that the Saudi Arabian Public Investment Fund will want Newcastle United to sign this summer. Starting off with the goalkeepers, we have breaking news coming in from last night. It has been reported that Newcastle United is closing in and has been given the green light to sign João Garcia, the goalkeeper, over at Espanyol. I don't know an awful lot about him, unlike the other players on this list, but it's a younger goalkeeper, someone that's going to come in as a backup option. I fully expect Newcastle to potentially sign 2 goalkeepers in this window. I expect probably Dubravka and Vladimir Dimas to be heading out, so in order to bring players in. Option straight away, João Garcia. If we sign João Garcia, that means we probably won't sign James Trafford. These are 2 very similar goalkeepers. Both of them are going to cost in the region of around £25 million. So there's no way we're going to sign both of them. If we get João Garcia over the next couple of days, we won't sign James Trafford. But if this João Garcia link all of a sudden just disappears and it doesn't turn out to be anything, James Trafford, again, is a goalkeeper Newcastle is interested in. He was the best in the Championship last season. He's back in the Premier League now, but the difference between a newly promoted team and a Champions League team like Newcastle, there's still quite a big gulf there. So, 2 options here. Newcastle, it sounds like we're going to sign one of these goalkeepers. So, let's see what happens. Moving into the centre-halves, in my personal opinion, I feel like Newcastle needs to be signing a centre-half that will most likely be starting for us, because with all due respect to Burn and to Shaw, they're both in the 30s now. They both had a class season. I will stress that they both had an unbelievable season, but with more matches coming in, they're getting older. Not to mention Botman's still scaling me a bit with this little injury crisis he seems to be having. So a new centre-half needs to come in. To give the obvious example straight away, Mark Gee was a player Newcastle was previously linked with to well over £60 million last summer. Newcastle was prepared to spend that much money, and then they eventually walked away from Crystal Palace. Now, I don't think we'll get Mark Gay straight away. Issue with him being is that Palace has won the FA Cup, and because they have won the FA Cup, he's now playing European football next season, so he has a reason to stay at Crystal Palace, and Crystal Palace probably the best time ever to be playing for their football club. So Mark Gay hasn't got much leg room to move. I don't think he needs to move. He was happy staying there last summer after Newcastle advanced on him, and I think he's going to stay there now. So I don't think we get him. But a player who doesn't have European football next season, Fikayo Tomori at AC Milan. AC Milan have completely thrown European football away, so they have absolutely no pull power next season. And Tomori's a player that I feel like at some stage in his career will come back to England, and I think he's underrated. You can get him for around £30 million. I think he's heavily underrated. I think he's quality. I remember playing him at St James's Park. He was outstanding on the day. And for me, obvious option there. Someone that knows the league well. Someone that has a lot of experience in the Champions League. And not that expensive. So Newcastle, surely Tomori is the sort of option you would be looking at. I think you'd be happy to come to a club like Newcastle. I think this is a fantastic deal, and you would get him for around £30 million. Surely this is a nailed-on signing. As for the centre midfielders, it's not a priority option, I would say. Newcastle will look to bring a centre mid in at some point. Ideally, probably one that's going to go behind the 3 that we are starting. Jacob Ramsey, however, is a player we have been linked with from Aston Villa. He's starting to fall down the pecking order a little bit. A player that's maybe wanting to perhaps move elsewhere in the Premier League, and someone With all due respect, someone who we are just kicked out of Champions League football a couple of days ago. I mean, I say we kicked out, we didn't. Manchester United kicked them out. We did bugger all and lost at St James's Park, but we got a bit lucky. We're in the Champions League now because of Manchester United. But again, Jacob Ramsey's a player that will be available. Not quite sure if you would want the Newcastle move because, again, I don't think you would start for Newcastle. I think he would be just behind Jordan because I really feel like we need his physicality in starting 11. But for Jacob Ramsey, if there's an option there, if you can get him for a decent deal, someone we already know Newcastle United has had interest in, someone we know Newcastle United wants to bring in. So we'll see if this one happens. But at the minute, I don't think there's an awful lot in it, to be honest. Moving into the attackers, the most heavily linked one to Newcastle United over the past year, Brian Mbembo over at Brentford. Look at the state of his stats last season. 20 goals and 7 assists at Brentford. 27 goal contributions in the Premier League last year. What a ridiculous return that is. 20 goals on the wing. Is this guy Mohamed Salah or something? That is a ridiculous return. And he's someone that I had admiration for him last season. I'm pretty sure we were talking about this guy in the video last season. And we're back here again saying the same thing because this guy is just that good. Brentford, again, hasn't got anything next season. And with all the teams out there, he's going to have a lot of interest from a lot of different European teams. Surely for Mbembo, if he wants to progress in his career, with all due respect to Brentford, if he wants to have any real progression in his career, he has to make a move at some point. Newcastle, surely this is the player we want. I know we are interested in a player like Mbembo. Will we splash that sort of money on him? I think this is the window we do. I think this is the window when Newcastle will start to put some serious money into a player. I think there will be one or two. You're talking 50, 60, maybe even potentially squeezing up to the £70 million mark. I think Newcastle will have a couple of those big mega signs in this window. This has to be one of them. This has to surely be one of them that Newcastle is trying to get. I think ability-wise, you'll not get any better than him. I think he really is at the top of his game. But if that one doesn't happen, we also have Matheus Cunha over at Wolves. 15 goals and 6 assists from him last season. Probably the thing that's just about kept Wolves up, especially in the first half of the season. Wolves, to be fair to them, I've kicked it on a little bit in the second half, but this is a sort of player that's been a real catalyst for them staying up last year. Newly promoted teams couldn't do anything, and they just about have quality. Acuna being that main man for them. Someone that's already been interested, like some Manchester United. There's a lot of teams sniffing around for him, especially players who go on the right-hand side. There's a few of them available this summer in terms of Premier League One. If you can't get Brian Mbembo, I think this guy is probably just a slight little step down from him. Cunha, again, is very good. With all due respect to Jacob Murphy, he's had an unbelievable season, but we need very good competition to come in. We need someone that's really going to knock Murphy off his perch and someone that's going to get the best not just out of Murphy, but get the best out of themselves as well to be able to help Newcastle. Because I feel like towards the back end of last season, the attacks kind of quieted out a bit. We just lost a bit of confidence, lost a bit of technique about us. We just need a stronger attack. We need to get it more next season. A player like Cunha, if we can't get Mbembo, Cunha again is a fantastic option to look at. And if neither of those work and we have to look outside the Premier League, we've got Cherky over at Lyon, a player who is currently linked to Manchester City. So by the time you're watching this video, we might already be at Man City knowing them. But he has 8 goals and 11 assists last season. The point I'm making here is that Newcastle will look at right-sided attacking players, and we have plenty of options that are available, not just in the Premier League, but outside as well. And Cherky's had a very solid year at Lyon. As for strikers, this is the big one because Wilson, surely he is out the door, which means that Newcastle need a backup option. They need a number 2, but it's a number 2 to Alexander Isak, probably one of the world's best strikers. So no shame in that, but we need someone that's going to help us out for European matches, for cup games, somebody that's going to come straight in. And a player that we have been reportedly said a done deal last year, apparently, or a couple of years ago now, is João Pedro of Brighton. Romano completely got that one wrong. He signed for Brighton instead from Watford. It just never was a done deal for Newcastle. But it is a player that we know Newcastle does want. Last season, 10 goals, just about got himself into double digits at Brighton. Again, next season, a bit of a similar Brentford scenario where Brighton's got nothing to play for. They've had a bit of a drop-off period in their point of view, and it's a chance for Newcastle. If you want to bring a Premier League level striker in, João Pedro is someone that hits the nail, and it will be a fantastic option if the next one's not available. And the next one being Leon Delap. 12 goals at Ipswich Town. Done quite a lot for them, but they still went down because the rest of the team was just rubbish. He has a release clause of £30 million because he's been relegated to the Championship. Whoever activates it, whoever wants to sign this guy, there are so many different teams that are linked with him, but it has been stated that Newcastle United has contacted his agents, but they haven't approached anything just yet. They haven't went that next step. But surely Newcastle, this is a player we want. I like Leon Delap a lot. I like João Pedro a lot. I think these are two very good options, and I think for next season, you need to be bringing one of these two in. Eddie Howe has stated that he wants to be going into transfers as quick as possible. The best players don't stick around. He wants deals done as soon as possible. Here's 2 deals straight away for you. And these are some good options in my video. There's 10 fantastic options there. And some of these players, I feel like some of them are going to be at Newcastle United next season. So let's see in a couple of months' time how many of these are correct. But that's my personal, I guess, PIF top 10 wish list. The 100% will be interested in all these players. But of course, there is a difference between interest and a difference between actually bringing them in. So let's see how many did Newcastle bring in. What do you guys think? What do you think about the options here? Do you like them? Do you want Newcastle to sign all the players that I've just mentioned? Let me know your opinions down below. Take care, and we will see you all in the next one.